DNA structure and replication. In this video we're going to look at the structure of DNA and how it's replicated, which is very important in the process of mitosis and meiosis. DNA is shortened from deoxyribonucleic acid, and it contains the genetic information needed to produce an organism and all of its features. It's stored inside the nucleus of every cell inside the organism's body, and it's stored as chromosomes. Each cell, each nucleus has exactly the same DNA. The structure of DNA is called a double helix, and that's because it's a twisted structure and there's two strands to it. It's got two backbones, we call them, and they're made out of sugar phosphate. Okay, so they're your backbones, and they're linked together with two bases that join together. So these are known as base pairs. The order of these base pairs determines your genes. So a certain order will give you different features. So you might have the order of bases needed for blue eyes, or the order of bases needed for brown eyes. That's what determines your characteristics. If we take a closer look at our strand of DNA, you'll notice the two backbones, our sugar phosphate backbones, create our structure, and then you've got some base pairs. Okay, the base G always pairs with the base C, and base A will always go with T. And you'll notice that occurs here. They only fit together if they're G and C, and they only fit together if they're A and T. The order can be reversed, so you can have T pairing with A and A pairing with T. Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video and work out what the other half of this strand of DNA would be. We'll go through the answers in a second. Okay, so here are the answers. A will always pair with T, C will go with G, G goes with C, T with A with T, C with G, and T with A. We're going to think now about how our strand of DNA replicates. This is very important in the process of mitosis and the process of meiosis, where new cells are made. Each cell, remember, has exactly the same DNA, so when a cell replicates we need to put a copy of our DNA into the new cell. So here's our first strand of DNA that we're going to copy, and we're going to start off by thinking about what holds those two strands together. The two strands are held together by these things here, and they are weak intermolecular forces that hold these bases together. They're not particularly strong, and it's quite easy for the two strands of DNA to split and move apart. Okay, so this is how our DNA replicates, to get exactly the same DNA, an exact copy made. The first step in the process is the two strands of DNA separate and move apart. The next step is two new backbones are made and added to our strands of DNA, and then the new bases are added to the new backbone. So you can see that these bases are matching up. The two bases that link together are added until all of those are added. There we go. And then the same happens for the other strand on this side. You now have two sets of DNA that are exactly the same. One will stay in the old cell and one will move to the new cell.